Since this manhunt, private security companies have seen a surge in the demand for protection from other high-profile companies. Joining us now is Glen Kucera, the president of Allied Universal Enhanced Protection Services. Good morning to you. Let's start with just the level of security for a high-level executive, as is the United Healthcare CEO. How often are companies reaching out to groups like yours to protect their top?
Well, certainly since the unfortunate incident on Wednesday, the demand has picked up substantially. You know, Allied Universal does services for 80% of the Fortune 500 companies, but in my Enhanced Protection Services division, we do a much smaller percent of services for what I offer in my product offering. So there's a myriad of reasons why companies choose to have executive protection or not. And I'm sure there were circumstances with the United Healthcare Group where they felt that wasn't necessary under these circumstances.
Based on what we know now and some of the things that have come out, there were threats against either him or other executives within the company, yet he's walking in New York going into this investors meeting on his own on the streets of New York. Does that strike you in your experience as unusual, given that there had been some concern?
Well, we didn't find out about the threats, unfortunately, until after the incident. He did not have a long walk. It was only across the street. It was not like he was walking, blocks down Manhattan or taking public transportation. So, I'm sure there was reasons why he felt he did not have that risk profile, or the United Healthcare Group felt it was not necessary for him to have that protection walking across the street. There's hundreds of executives that walk around Manhattan every day, myself included, without executive protection. Unfortunately, now the landscape seems to be changing after this unfortunate incident.
And what about just public knowledge of their comings and goings, right? So this investors meeting was happening. There were certain people that knew about it. Do you foresee that type of thing changing in light of this tragedy?
Clearly this was a targeted event, not in New York City, could have happened anywhere. And it seemed to be tied to that investors conference. I'm certain going forward, when a number of executives are getting together for executive conferences or other gatherings within certain verticals, they will be certainly assessing whether they need executive protection. If any of those attendees are by controversial subject matter in their employment, certainly executive protection may be necessary.
And does that mean bodyguards? I mean, what does that look like?
Within Allied Universal Enhanced Protection Services, we provide a whole myriad of physical security, from armed canine officers to, armed operatives that work for the Secret Service or employed by law enforcement prior. A lot of that is just a visual deterrent. If the perpetrator sees somebody else with that executive, it makes them think twice, makes them have to reconsider the event. Maybe perhaps there will be an operative that will actually return fire. All we're trying to do is create that moment of doubt. So perhaps that perpetrator may not engage. So it could be a whole myriad of security postures going forward.
How much are executives made aware of threats against them? And at what point does it rise to the level that they need to know everything?
I think it's important, especially after this incident, that executives and companies are always aware of what that threat profile may be. Monitor your social media, not just the open source, but the dark web. When you have certain events or certain restructuring items, the threats could be internal, they could be external. Certainly, there are times in an executive's year where they have more exposure, maybe they're making a decision that could be somewhat controversial. So as those decisions are made or public statements are made, certainly they need to really consider if they need executive protection going forward.
From a security standpoint, Glen, how do you feel about the executive profiles online? Their pictures, even, not so much as where they live, but where they work out of?
Marni, I became a CEO 34 years ago. And never in my life did I think I would be in a position where I would require, an armed operative to be walking with me. All the information is out there. It's very, very available. So I know there are some companies that are taking down the pictures of their executives, but, all the information, personal information is there. It becomes very difficult. And that's something people have to consider going forward if they want to be a CEO of a company.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.